I'm Bobbi Foutch-Reynolds, and I shall be reading from All the Good devotional book. This December 23rd devotional was written by Reverend Susan Robb. Now therefore, if you obey my voice and keep my covenant, you shall be my treasured possession out of all the peoples. Indeed, the whole earth is mine, but you shall be for me a priestly kingdom and a holy nation. These are the words that you shall speak to the Israelites. Exodus 19, verses 5 and 6. When I consider the material possessions in my home that are the most treasured, it would probably surprise many that they are, without a doubt, some of the most unassuming. There's the old wooden rocking chair bought by my grandparents in 1910 at the birth of their first child. It rocked 7 children to sleep at night, was a centerpiece of family hymn singing on their front porch, served as the official gathering place for hundreds of family Christmas photos, and continues to rock a 6th generation of babies as their weary parents and grandparents cradle them in their arms during midnight feedings. Next is my mom's simple pottery serving bowl. It faithfully held the vegetable du jour at our dinner table each night, and generations of gathered family members were nourished by its generous offerings at every holiday meal. The third is a modest little string of pearls purchased in 1952 by a 21-year-old young man who had scrimped and saved to purchase the finest gift he could afford to honor his sweet bride-to-be. That bride offered those pearls to me at my wedding to her son, and they have been gifted to our daughter, who never had the chance to meet the extraordinary man who had worked so hard to offer a token of his love to the one he loved most. These possessions are treasured, not for their meager monetary value, but for the priceless reminder of unconditional love and acceptance, marked by the steady drum of indefatigable faithfulness, passed from generation to generation. Something set apart for God's purposes is deemed holy. Exodus recounts the story of God's mighty and disruptive coming into the midst of a people beloved by God since before their conception. God covenanted with their ancestor Abraham that if he obeyed God's voice, he and his wife Sarah would give birth to a great nation. Their purpose? To live life in such a way that all nations would come to see the depth of God's love and faithfulness through them. Generations later, the Israelites stand at Mount Sinai, freed from slavery in Egypt by the God who treasures them, and listen to a new iteration of the covenant. Keep the covenant by loving God and their neighbor, as set forth in the 10 Commandments, and they will be God's treasured possession, a priestly kingdom, and a holy nation. Each Christmas season, we are reminded of the powerful and disruptive coming of God in the flesh of the Christ child to claim all the world as his treasured possession. We become that treasured possession through the gift of God's treasured Son, who exhibited the deep love and faithfulness of God toward us by giving up his life for us. We live into the purpose as God's treasured and holy possession when we continue his unchanging mission, to live in such a way by imitating his life that all people will come to see and know the depth of God's eternal love and faithfulness through us by the power of his Spirit. Just as he fed the hungry, brought healing to the sick, included and accepted those rejected by society, and shared in word and deed the abundance of God's love, so must we. I think the original owners of my treasures would be surprised to know not only that their simple possessions still existed, but also the lasting impact of the love they shared through those possessions to future generations. You are God's treasured possession. You may never see the way in which you share the gift of Christ's love and faithfulness today impacts generations to come, but it will. May you receive the treasure of Christmas this season and share it generously always.